Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're going to head back to the 80s, folks, for a sci-fi horror film. Before we do that, do me a favor. Like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here. I greatly would appreciate that. Also, as always, a shameless plug for my TeePublic and my Zazzle Store. I'll leave a link for both of those in the description box below. And today we're going back to James Cameron territory. And that movie is The Terminator, which is brand new 4K, remastered by James Cameron. Now, James Cameron co-wrote and directed this film. This film dropped on October 26th of 1984. It's rated R. It's an hour and 47 minutes long. Had a budget of $6.4 million, and upon release, it made 38 in America and 78 worldwide. This is the film that got James Cameron Aliens, because he went off to England to do Aliens after this film. And this film has in it Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator, Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor, Michael Behan as Kyle Reese. We also got some cool character actors in there. Lance Henriksen's in this film. Rick Rosovich is in this film. Paul Winfield, Bill Paxton, and Brian Thompson as well. And Bill Paxton's famous because he was killed by a Terminator, a Predator, and an alien. So he got the trifecta, baby. Now, this film is basically this original film. We know what the Terminator franchise has become, but the original, this one, is basically a sci-fi horror movie. It's a slasher film at the end of the day, at least in my opinion, and I know other people feel the same way. But here we go. Basically, there's a future war going on, and John Connor, Sarah Connor's son, is leading the resistance, and the machines send back a cybernetic organism to go and terminate her in the past before she has a chance to have John Connor. And they send back a protector. John Connor sends back a protector and Kyle Reese, and Schwarzenegger's Terminator is hunting her down. He is systematically killing every Sarah Connor, literally in the phone book in the LA area, until he finally finds his target. And he won't stop, as Kyle Reese says. He can't be bargained with. He doesn't feel pity. He won't stop until he rips her goddamn heart out. And they got to fight for their lives, and eventually, finally, Kyle Reese blows the Terminator exoskeleton in half. He dies. But unfortunately, the upper half of the skeleton is still after Sarah Connor, and she crushes it in a press to live on. And we see at the end of the film that she is indeed pregnant with Kyle Reese's son, John Connor. And that is the end of the Terminator. And we wouldn't get a sequel for quite a while until we got finally Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which many consider, including myself, one of the absolutely best sequels ever made. What to like about this film? Well, the cast. Arnold Schwarzenegger was made for a role like this, and he is great. He's intimidating. He has that icy cold stare that I don't care who you are. You know, like Kyle Reese says, you can't bargain with him, and absolutely you cannot bargain with him. And that raid on the police station is wonderfully staged, and it's fantastic. But this movie really does play out like a slasher film. It's like a Halloween movie almost, where the Terminator is Michael Myers, and he's systematically killing people until he finally gets to his objective. Linda Hamilton is great here as Sarah Connor. This Sarah Connor is a very different one than we would see in Judgment Day, although we do see her growth throughout the film, especially to the end of the film. But at the beginning of the film, she's just this, you know, she's just working a job. She has a roommate trying to pay her rent, and she doesn't, you know, she's going about her life until she's thrust into a situation that she can't possibly fathom until she finally comes to grips that, you know, Kyle isn't crazy. He's telling the truth, and they got to fight for their lives here. Michael Biehn is great here as Kyle Reese. As a matter of fact, you know, I know Anton Yelchin played it in Salvation, that role, but Michael Biehn is the OG Michael Biehn, and he's, or the OG Kyle Reese, and he's fantastic here in this role. Everybody is great here. James Cameron, you could see where he would go with his career in this film. The action is tight. It's well shot. It's, you know, it has that, you know, he would perfect his lighting style later on, but definitely you can see shades of what would to come is what we consider James Cameron lighting, the way he would light a shot or a scene. The effects by Stan Winston look great, even under 4K scrutiny. Yes, they look a little dated, but God, my God, for what they were able to pull off in '84 on that budget, fantastic. Just chef's kiss. Originally, James Cameron approached Rob Bottin to do the effects, but he was busy on the thing, couldn't commit to it. So, you know, he wanted Dick Smith. Dick Smith didn't think he could do it, so he recommended his friend Stan Winston. And Stan Winston and James Cameron worked for many, many, many years together until Stan Winston's sad death. But yeah, I think this movie is very tightly paced. It's the shortest Terminator film out of the whole series. It sets up our world. Obviously, he would expand on that world in the sequel, and even make it even bigger. And that's a much more bigger film, much more money. But in the sequel, he took some ideas that he originally had for this film, but they couldn't afford to do it. So he brought those ideas back for the sequel, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Any negatives? No, I really don't. I really, really like this film. It's a great sci-fi horror film. I do prefer the sequel. I think the Terminator 2 Judgment Day is a better film, but I still like the OG as well. This was all shot in LA, and Cameron would often use guerrilla style, filmmaking style tactics where he would get the crew, they would stop at a location, shoot what they needed, and get out of there before the cops show up because they didn't have permits to shoot there. He did that quite a bit on this film because they didn't have the money nor the time to go through the proper channels, so he got those shots any way he possibly could. Cameron had the idea for this film while he was trying to edit Piranha 2: The Spawning. It's famous James Cameron got fired off of that film because of the producers, but he used his own money to fly to Rome to try to be involved with the editing. And one night he had a nightmare about the exoskeleton in this film, and he decided to write this film. That was where the genesis for this film was. So, and then again, it gave James Cameron a career. He's one of the biggest filmmakers of all time at this point. Other than that, there's a ton of stuff online you can find out about this film. Now, this 4K, before I rate this film, looks spectacular. They really did a nice job. The grain is still there, but the clarity and the way the movie looks is the best it's ever looked, and probably the best it's ever going to look. The sound sounded amazing. It sounded really good, better than it does on the Blu-ray. So they did a really nice job. And there are special features on here, but they're all ported over. I don't know if any more new. I only watched the one. I didn't have time to watch the one documentary, but it was an older documentary. But at the end of the day, this is an absolute classic, which started a big franchise that probably shouldn't have gone past the second one. I like the third one to a point. Even Salvation has its points, but let's be honest. The first two are the best, and they'll always be the best. So yeah, at the end of the day, I would give The Terminator a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10 for The Terminator. What would you rank this film? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. I'll be back soon with some more reviews, but until next time, bye.